I have always done well in my corporate industry when I was Daniels. I built businesses across the globe, managed a great P&L. I was a senior executive in a company, but deep inside I was struggling. And after I socially transitioned, I had a difficulty in getting a job. The position that I was offered was a case manager in a medical company. Hi, my name is Celia Sandhya Daniels. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an immigrant. I'm an Asian Indian. I'm an artist. I'm a composer. I'm a hiker, a human rights activist, a trans activist, public speaker. I'm a parent, and I'm married to a beautiful woman. I identify as a gender fluid person and a non-op transgender. This is my story. When I was 4 years old, I was struggling with my gender. My mom looked at the social constructs created by the colonial government in India that was so binary. I wanted to be a girl. My gender wasn't doing justice to my anatomy, and I knew about my gender at a very early age. I remember going into the closet, trying to wear my mom's clothes, and part of my life was so difficult. I struggled with gender dysphoria at an early age because my preferred gender was not matching with my birth gender. I was abused when I was in my fourth grade by one of my relatives. I took it upon myself and I said, it's because I look different. Just after 2 years, my cousin brother molested me. I took it upon myself. I said, it's because I'm different. It's not their fault, it's my fault. I struggled with my abuse. I couldn't tell my parents about it. I struggled so hard. And I used to go to the beach and sit down and cry and look into the sky and ask for help. God, if you're out there, please help me. I don't want to be a girl. It is hard being a girl. I always heard this white noise in my head that kept telling me that you are not worthy. And when I was in my ninth grade, I really wanted to come out. It didn't go well. I was publicly humiliated. There were close to 13 men and women standing around me, pointing their fingers at me and using the most derogatory language. They were so angry that I didn't understand why they were angry at me. I didn't rob, I didn't steal, I didn't do anything. I was just standing there in a long dress and a scarf around my head. I could smell their alcohol breath on my neck. I even cringed. I knew they were going to beat me up that night. Unfortunately, that's what happens to the trans people in India. But I was lucky that evening. I spoke in a different language and confused them and walked away. I came home. I remember going to the terrace in my building. I sat there in the dark and I cried. I was afraid to live and I was afraid to die. I wanted to really kill myself. I tried committing suicide, but I was afraid to die. My life moved on. I did well in my studies. I got married to a beautiful woman. And I was always attracted to women. I was not attracted to men. Our life started in this country 2 decades ago. And I was so focused on being successful in my career. I was working for JP Morgan Chase and a lot of companies in the East Coast. I came out very late in my life, but before that, I was successful, I was arrogant, and I was pushing my male privilege a lot. I sometimes sit down and regret why I did that. I used to laugh with my colleagues during the happy hour. After we won a deal, we used to sit around the table, drink beer, and my friends used to talk about women and how sexy they are. I was just quietly sitting and listening to them. I smiled and giggled with them just to get along. I feel so ashamed of myself after those conversations. I went back home and I thought to myself, I am a woman too. I'm a trans woman. I cannot let them talk like that about women. But I didn't do anything. I was just quiet. I was just listening to them. I was successful in my career. I did so well that companies paid me top dollars. I could not sustain in my role. After working for 20 plus years, I decided that I wanted to quit and start my own company. I came out and then it all began. I went through a lot of depression because I couldn't get a job as Celia. It was hard. It was really hard. And I know that there are a lot of trans women who are struggling. They are really good in their career. And I did a social experiment where I was looking for a job as Celia for 6 months and I was declined everywhere because they liked my resume, but they didn't like the fact that they had to hire a person like me in an executive role. It doesn't work in those companies, right? They're okay to give me a desk job, but when it came to an executive role, I could do it. I have done it. I had my credentials in my resume. I have customer testimonies. Nobody gave me a job. And after 6 months, I went back. I put on my suit, my jacket, and in a month, I had 3 interviews lined up. No questions asked. And everyone was asking me, when can you join? I didn't take those jobs. I was patient. I wanted to work with nonprofits. I wanted to change those companies. And that's what I did. I'm in the executive board for Trans Can Work. And I'm proud to be in this organization that's making a huge difference in the corporate world. Having undergone this kind of a trauma, workplace bias, and stigma, I know that we can slowly change. The companies are making a great effort in changing, but they still need to move. They need a little bit. And I was willing to help. I was willing to educate the trans community, and at the same time, I want to help the companies on changing their policies and accepting trans folks who are different and see how they fit into the culture of the company, in the framework of the company. I was looking for opportunities to change the HR policies for gender non-binary kids. 27% of youth in California identify as gender non-binary. In 2025, close to 75% of the youth in California would be identifying as gender non-binary. Companies, are you really prepared for this? If you're not prepared for me, it's going to be a long journey there. And I began my journey talking to companies and educating them, telling my story, and also helping the trans community empowering them, teaching them job etiquettes, helping them with mental health, and also looking at ways to empower them even if they didn't have clothes to wear for interviews. Trans Can Work was helping them out. I'm so proud to be a part of this group, this part of this amazing initiative. I'm not here just to talk about my life, but I'm here to talk about the people like me whose voices have not been heard. Though I have lived half my life in this country and half my life in India, my heart is still in India. I want to help people in India. I want to change the culture in India. And I know it's possible. It might probably take months, weeks, years, decades. I'm willing to wait. I may not be around, but I want to create pathways for future, not legacies or monuments for myself. I'm proud to be part of the women's conference today because I'm a trans woman and you're my allies. And I know that there will be time when I need to hold someone's hand and say that if I'm going to move forward, I need your help. Will you walk with me? The only way trans women can make a difference in the tech industry is by holding hands to the person next to me, the person of intersectional identities, women of color. This is the only way we can change our world. And I want to build allies. And you are my allies. I would love it if you can accept, listen, learn, and have the yearning to help. And that is what I look for in allies. Thank you so much for listening to me today. And I hope that you will be my ally. And I hope to have more trans women participate. When COVID ends, I would love to meet some of you face to face, shake hands with you and hug, and say that we are in this together. Thank you so much for listening to my story, and I appreciate what you do. Thank you.